Hello, I'm Dr. Paul, and this is my beautiful wife, Lynn. And today we will be talking about some of the questions we have gotten recently about our plasma energy products.
Okay, and a big question we get this time of year, of course, is about the wintertime change in the vials that we ship. So many of you are used to receiving the glass vials and seeing the glass vials, the 16 glass vials on our energy station. Well, when the cold weather hits up where we are, we can't send those because they're going to freeze and break. So instead, you're going to get these larger plastic vials, and they're consolidated. So on your list of the 16 vials, Vial 1 contains 1 through 4. Vial 2 contains 5 through 8. Vial 3 contains 9 through 12 on the plasma energy station. And Vial 4 has the contents of the plasma energies listed on, 13 through 16. So this is what you get. Even if these freeze, they are not going to break. And our goal is for you to open a package that has no broken vials. Now, some of you have asked me where you can get the vials, and I put it on frequently asked questions on our website. And you order 2 dram glass vials. You get them we get them from Amazon. You can find them somewhere else, I'm sure. But you want 2 dram clear glass vials with plastic screw-on lids. And I will mention, if you're going to do that, and if you're going to transfer into the smaller vials, be sure you work on a work surface where you have plenty of room and you have a cushioned surface, because these little guys slip out of your hands pretty easily, don't they?
Right.
Yeah. And so if you drop them, you want them to drop on a soft surface, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have broken vials and you're still going to be unhappy. Now, if you've ordered one of our single formulas, whatever it is, in the Healthy Helper series or whatever, instead of getting, for instance, Healthy Helpers is our special this month. Instead of getting 5 vials like this, you're going to get 5 plastic vials like this. And this is just what we have to do in the wintertime, okay? And so I'll go through a few of our questions that we've had or comments. And here's a comment. I had what I thought was seborrhea on the hairline and the near temple on my face for 5 years. Recently I saw a dermatologist to talk about some sebaceous cysts on my face, which were where a doctor had removed some 20 years ago. She looked at the area of my hairline and insisted on biopsy, saying she was required to do so before treating me. I have started spraying and the use of the latest vials that I acquired most recently from you. Scabs are gone on one of the spots and the other is half the size that developed 2 weeks ago. Could I be having a healing crisis? What do you think?
I don't even understand that question.
Okay, all right, so moving right along. You know, one nice thing is we never sit here and make stuff up, do we? If we don't know, we don't know. But here's something interesting she did say also. I've been having itching on my lower legs and my arms that make me feel like I'm scratching or rubbing off old skin. And this happens to a lot of people, and you had itchy skin for a long time.
Right.
And so you would ask for lotion after a shower, and even copious amount of lotion didn't really alter the itchy feeling.
Right. That's one of the side effects of diabetes is skin rashes and itches.
Okay, so then you quit using lotion entirely, and how did you do that?
I After I shower, I spray my whole body with a very light mist of CO2 zinc combination, and that eliminates the need for any type of lotion. I don't even use any at all anymore.
So that's a far cry from what you used to go through.
Right.
And the really neat thing about that is, you know, try as you might, a lot of lotions have a lot of stuff in them you'd probably rather not be slathering all over your skin.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then we have, now we're getting lots of questions about our overnight temperatures. Are we shipping the glass? Are we shipping the plastic vials or whatever? And so my response on another email about the nighttime temperatures, yes, they have slid below into the 20s and the teens. So it just isn't a good idea. Even if our temperatures raise a little and we're sending things eastward and it's following the weather, it still may be an issue, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So, and what I need to say here is, don't forget that what you're really seeking is the benefits of the plasma energy station water and not the looks of the delivery system of those benefits. People outside our country don't even get a choice of glass or plastic vials. They are going to get the pair of paper pad plasma energy patches. I've had some questions from people outside of the country because these are going to go on the outside of a container, and I'll just use this because it's handy, but this certainly isn't what you're going to use for your large energy station. But let's say these are going on either side. Now, the contents of all the 16 vials are in these two patches. Some people have asked me, well, I thought I was going to get 16 pairs of patches. You know, guys, if you look at the size of these and you had 16 pairs, you'd have to have an enormous container. So that's why we do it this way. It's also just in being efficient in what we're mailing. Now, Paul, is the energy the same in this as it is in these?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And are these energies the same as the 16 vials?
Yes.
So it really does not matter what we're delivering the plasma energy water to you in. And I had a couple responses from people, and one was from somebody overseas who did not get their package. And I sent them, finally, we sent another package, but this time I used printer paper. And I sprayed the water on the printer paper. When they got it, I gave them the instructions. Here's how you're going to fold it all up and make your patches. Put them in the plastic and tape them shut. And put them on your container. Well, I didn't hear from them for a while, and then I heard from them. And here's what they wrote. This was about 5 months later. I was hoping instead of posting energy pads as the kitchen paper towel, would it be possible to post it as paper instead, as my mother ordered some energy pads in the kitchen paper towel form and they went missing. In the post, as I said, my mother ordered the energy pads, and I've noticed a massive difference. I'm a practicing healer and therapist, and I've doused the plasma water, and wow. Also, I've noticed a massive difference in health-wise. So a big thank you to Paul and yourself. And I see one of our lights just went out, so we may be kind of talking to you in the dark. I don't know, do you want to turn on that one lamp right there? It might help. This lamp right here. Sorry about that. Technical issues, right? And then another comment from someone were just some of the successes that she was having, and she took some of her Miracle 2 soap and had 2 rose bushes that got eaten by mites as soon as the leaves came out. So this happens to her every year. So this spring she put a little soap with the plasma water and sprayed the rose bushes for about a week every day, and only here and there during the summer. They are unblemished until now, and she sent me this in September. And she said this proved to be a great base that was enriched with plasma. I can even put herbs that I steep in plasma water and add essential oils. And then she also added that she had sent something to a friend overseas, and the package was never delivered. So she did the same thing that I talked about, spraying it on paper and sent it in a letter, and her friend did get it that way. So it was in the islands somewhere. She also added about the Lyme relief. I got bitten 6 to 7 times in June. I had the Lyme relief already. By holding the vial, I could actually see if I needed it or not, which is another cost-saving way. No need to send your tick in to find out. I tested positive, and I had a few little symptoms during the first month, and now it is month 3 and I have 0 signs. Wow, no antibiotics, difficult herbal or homeopathic protocols. So that was kind of nice to hear about that. Now I had one today, and I want to show you, because this is really a nice setup that this family did with their plasma energy station. And their question was, is it okay to keep it in the sunlight? So Paul, what would you say about that?
Well, it's probably okay as long as it doesn't get moldy. The light is going to contribute to building mold in there, and if there's any kind of contamination at all in that water by accident or whatever, it'll get moldy.
Okay, and couldn't it even be a contamination that would happen when you lift the lid to add more water to the station?
That's correct, because room air is full of spores from different molds.
Okay, and would it also be like algae spores too?
Yes.
Okay, so that's something to be mindful of. And we have 3 different stations, and they are not in the sunlight. So that's just an aside for you. The plasma energy doesn't really require sunlight.
No.
Okay, so just in case you thought it might, it doesn't. Okay, and then this was a nice report. I wanted to report what we've experienced so far. With the plasma energy station water, we experienced better sleep with dreams for both of us. For my wife, she has had better energy. I've been taking coconut oil for years to rid myself of senior moments with short-term memory issues. I stopped taking the coconut oil since taking the plasma water and experienced no memory issues. I also have issues with dry eyes, with wearing contacts, and since spraying my eyes with the water, that has been reduced. And then he shares that I started growing a moringa tree from seeds, and I had 2 that got about 4 inches tall. I sprayed them with the plasma energy station water, but it did not bring about an improvement. In fact, they didn't look as good. So then he decided to spray the plants just with the CO2, and he started spraying them with that, and within a day the seedlings started to turn around. After a few days, the one that looked like it had lost all its leaves resprouted, and now the plants are doing well. So do you want to comment on the CO2 water?
Well, CO2 is what the trees use to form their wood. I mean, it's carbon, and they gather it out of the atmosphere. And so spraying it with the CO2 is like putting fertilizer on it.
You know, that kind of brings to mind all this stuff about global warming and reducing carbon and this and that, that would seem to me it's going to have a very bad effect on trees and plants.
That is very correct. That's a hoax that's been brought onto the people of the world, and it's totally untrue.
Well, and the other thing is plants emit oxygen.
Right.
So if we're cutting back the carbon print and getting rid of all the plants,
You're getting rid of the oxygen also.
well, that's not going to bode too well for everything that needs oxygen, is it?
Right.
Okay. And then he says, I started spraying my eyes with CO2 and I noticed it was even more effective on my dry eye issue. It seemed to accelerate my healing after some treatment I did on my skin. And just thanks for all the hard work you do. Yeah, thank you. It's nice to get an attaboy every now and then, isn't it? And what we have seen from people is a lot of people's plants do well with the plasma energy station water. And the pets certainly thrive with it. So that's an area where you're going to have to experiment. And when people ask me, where can I get just the CO2, Paul, can they reverse engineer this out of their plasma energy station?
Yes, they can.
And how would they do that?
With intention. Get a jar, put some plasma energy water in it, and put a label on it, CO2, and leave it overnight and use it as CO2 the next day. With your power of intention, it will have the effect of CO2.
And we had an interview earlier today with Peter Roth, and he was talking about Dan Winter and the whole idea of the bioavailability of the plasma water. Can you just sort of explain what that means?
Well,
just
what
the
do you mean by bioavailability?
My impression when you gave the answer to Peter was that it was the availability of the plasma energy in the water because of the form that plasma energy has been placed in the water.
Yeah, it's the monoatomic nature of the product, the way we break it down into its monoatomic form that gives it the plasmatic field.
Okay, and then sometimes you refer to the torsion fields.
It's the same thing. The plasmatic field is the same thing as the torsion field. It just depends on who's using it and what they call it.
Okay, and that brings to mind with torsion fields the fact that there is a lot going on right now about a lot of information coming out about the 5G that they're placing, and I understand China's going to do 6G. I don't know what that's going to accomplish except something we may not want in our lives. So with the 5G, what Paul has put together is the large breaker box magnets, and these just go on the door of the breaker box facing into the room, right?
Right.
Okay, now people have asked me about putting these out on a meter. I would suggest they might get removed.
Well, yeah, they probably will. And it would have to go on the inside of the meter, the side closest to the house.
So the best thing is to put it on the inside of the door facing into the house.
Right.
Okay. And then we just have the smaller size, and these have a peel and stick tape, double-sided tape on it, so you peel the white part off, and these just stick onto your cell phone, your TV, your microwave, your anything that's emitting radiation, your computer. So that's, and Paul, do you want to tell them what's in here?
That's an epoxy base with shungite powder, silver Gans water, and a small magnet.
Okay, and then we made pendants that you can also wear, say with the same contents. There's plain ones, there's Amazonite, there is lapis, and I don't have one right out here. We just started doing them with fluoride also. And you can read about these on our website and decide if it's anything that you'd like to have in your arsenal of making your lives better, right? So, okay, and then oh, and I want to talk about the plants real quick. I know a woman who loves her Christmas cactus, and she said, you know, I'd like for it to bloom more than once a year, so I just spray it with my plasma energy station water, and I can get it to bloom other times of the year. So that's not something I'd ever thought about trying, and you might give it a try and see if it works for you. Okay, structured water, separate vials. Paul, we get a lot of questions about structured water. And is plasma energy water a structured water, and can people use it with a structured water?
You can use it with structured water, and it depends on what the definition of structured water is. I would say that plasma energy water is probably a form of structured water, but it's probably different than the structured water that's advertised for sale on the internet. The term structured could mean just about anything, and I'm not sure exactly what it means in each and every context.
Okay, but in the context of plasma energy station, it does give structure. The plasma energy fields give structure to the water.
Right.
Okay. And, okay, then this was just, here's a note. Thank you and Paul for all you're doing to help uplift the planet and all who journey upon her that are ready to receive this gift. My dogs and I are already feeling better from the 16-vial water station. I will, as I afford it, acquire the other GANs that are most applicable first. I've been a healthcare practitioner for over 34 years now, and am happily sharing your website with all who have ears that are open to hear. So that was nice to hear from her. Here's a question on what are the effects of boiling with the station water? Is that going to affect it, Paul?
As far as I know, it will not affect it.
Okay, and we use it all the time. We heat things.
But yeah, we make coffee and tea with it every day.
And we add it to soup and to sauces and things like that.
Right.
So, yeah. And also, if you want to see some really neat patterns, freeze some of your plasma energy water. It can be in little ice cubes, or it can be in an open glass, and just put some plasma energy water in it and freeze it. And when people see the frozen, what are they looking at?
They're looking at the plasmatic fields and how they freeze, how the water surrounding those fields freezes in place.
Okay, so you almost see like a sometimes a swirl or something.
Yeah, you see a swirl or lines, radiation rays.
Okay, and somebody says, as I look through the individual formulas, I get confused on the rhyme or reason on how they were put together. I don't understand why the substances were put together like they are. And what my answer was is what is presented in the formulas is more like a pantry of ingredients. The body will take the energies that it needs and ignore other energies at that moment it doesn't need. Do you have anything you would add to that?
No.
Okay. All right. And also, using plasma energy is not like using things in the matter state. So we've all been trained in the matter state, especially like I always relate it to the kitchen. A teaspoon is smaller than a cup, and a cup is smaller than a gallon. So those are just a few of the things we wanted to bring to you today. And I want to remind you, this is November of 2017. We do have what we call the Healthy Helper Special. And we've written another short blog on epigenetics, how clean genes enable healthy aging. And you can read that on our website, and that has to do with the healthy genes. And Paul, would you like to say anything about some upcoming things you're working on?
We're working on a series right now on diabetes education, and this is a free upcoming series that will be 3 or 4 lectures on the current state of diabetes and what we can do to help ourselves. And most of this comes from my personal experience of 35 years of being a type 1 diabetic. And so this is a lot of personal experience and information from researchers outside of the mainstream medicine. There's a lot of information that we'll be putting out from neuropathic doctors, chiropractors, herbalists, herbal therapists, and people who are not in the medical mainstream, so that you can get a whole different perspective on how to manage and live with diabetes without having complications such as blindness, amputations, constant skin itch, arthritis, digestion problems, and an endless myriad of other problems. So that'll be coming up right after the first of the year. So be watching for that.
Okay, and just a reminder, you can find our information at plasmaenergysolution.com. And we encourage you to look at the blogs, the frequently asked questions, the testimonials, the many, many videos that we've put up to share with you. So thank you very much. There are some free reports. If you pick those, you do have to put in your email address under each free report to open that report. So thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And if you feel you've gotten any value from it, give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends and relatives. Thank you.